is 10 days to Christmas, actually 9 days to Christmas. Wow. Quite fast. The year is done, guys. If you're thinking of getting married, you have how many days to get married? 15 days, 2 weeks. If you're thinking of divorcing, you also have 2 weeks to do that. I don't know where you belong, Amwai. To get married or or if you're thinking of getting somebody prospector this year, you only have 15 days. Where do you belong in those 3 that I've mentioned?
This is done. There's no need to hurry. If at all we want to settle those, things like marriage at this particular time, maybe for introduction at home when you're going to visit the family and all that, then it's on contracts. Then when you get to 31st, we divorce. So we say we actually got married in 2022, got divorced, and life continues.
Isn't it? Anyway, the people got you some time back. You said, let the World Cup end. And why the World Cup is ending this Sunday. Then you said, let's go into the elections. The elections are already done. So what are we waiting for next? COVID is already a long gone story because apparently those are some of your reasons.
Okay.
What next? What's going to be your excuse?
My excuse? There's so many things happening in the country that need your attention.
Like what? What big thing is happening in the country?
We are handling the Cherera 4. Or is it 2? So when we are done with that, we can actually think about something else. But for now, no.
So you're waiting for that?
Yeah. It's connected to the election. You understand? So the election, to some extent, is not yet over. Yeah? We're still counting 100 days before the government delivers that. There's so many things. The hustler fund until we get to 50,000. So there's so many things that need attention that we can't just drop them and start focusing on other things.
Listen, we give it to you. But anyway, we do know that Masit did say that she has a bombshell.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're waiting for it once the tribunal then starts investigating her, isn't it?
Yep.
I can't wait for it. What does she have that we already don't know?
I don't know. I'm also curious about that. I'm waiting for that to actually, so that we get to understand exactly what happened. And to some extent, I was very, skeptical about whether she should actually do this or not. But now that we are looking at how things did, unfold, I'm open to this, tribunal actually doing investigations, putting up a defense and trying to defend herself and things like that, just to try and understand some of the questions that people have in regards to what happened on the 15th of August and before that and after then.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot that is going on currently. We might have the first governor getting kicked out of office even before 100 days are done. Amwai?
Yeah. Somebody argued that it was rigidity, something like that, that she's a little bit rigid and that's why she's facing this. And some people argue that it's because she's a woman, that's why she's being impeached, because if you look at it, ever since she was sworn into office, there's nothing that has happened much that should actually warrant an impeachment at this particular time, because it's been like 3 months, I believe. So some people argue that this is not enough time to say, by the way, it is time to impeach a governor. So what exactly did she do?
I'll tell you that.
And both sides of the political divide in that particular assembly. Now, there's a problem in this country. When you are an independent governor going into an assembly without, foot soldiers, something like that, you can call the MCS foot soldiers in that particular county, then chances of you being impeached are high. So how you conduct yourself in front of them is very crucial.
It's just for us to see exactly what happens next, because what we do know is that the Senate will have to weigh in on this, isn't it? Because there are some governors that have been impeached previously in the previous government, and the Senate did bail them out. Case in point, Governor Amwai,
yes,
the Senate bailed her out. So do you expect that the same thing is going to happen this time? Because then she's independent.
Now, this is the thing. It depends with which side of the political divide you belong to.
But she has no political divide.
She has no political party, but which side is she affiliated to? I'll say, because just the other day they were talking about having a meeting with the deputy president, that is Rigathi Gachagua. The MCS said, no, we are not going to have a meeting with you until we kick Kawira Mwangaza out. And they waited for that. Now that is done. So if at all the government is on her side to some extent. That's what I believe. Then if this goes to the Senate, she might actually come back. You know, the majority, when we start playing the majority card and all that.
Last time around, it was 68 out of 69. This time around, it was 67 out of 69. That's quite a huge number.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just for us to watch this, but I do know one of our reporters right there in the newsroom, that's Shanta Kareria, by the way, is on this story. So stick around. We Look Up TV, we're going to give you bits on that developing story, because what we do know, there's already, she says, contempt of court, because there was already a case filed stopping MCAs from doing this. We're going to talk about that and other many more issues right here on The Morning Drift. The hashtag is The Morning Drift. I am at Kiage, Simba, and Amwai. It is at Amwai Brian on Twitter. All right, we take a tiny breather. Once we come back, newspaper review this morning. Brian, yesterday we were with Nelima. She introduced the show completely. Felt good. Yeah. The people have been not me. I'm okay. The people have been saying, why is Simba appearing from Monday to Friday? Why can't you give him a break like you give Amwai and Nelima? Not me, Amwai. I didn't say that. I'm just saying people have been saying.
Who are these people?
Maybe something that we need to figure.
And who are they speaking? They're speaking on whose behalf exactly?
On their behalf. Anyway, here's the thing. Amwai, I do have the Daily Nation and you have the
Standard.
Can we jump into it?
Let's just take the Standard here. And the top story on the Standard is Masit. I will drop a bombshell on polls. This is exactly what you were talking about earlier, Simba, that she has something that she says is going to be surprising and good evidence. Now, exactly 5 days to the start of the Muchelule Tribunal sittings, Commissioner Irene Masit has declared that she will spill the beans on the conduct of elections and the aftermath. Now, this is a story on page 8 of the Standard. I want to quote her. She says, I'm not ready to quit, and Kenyans should expect a bombshell during my appearance before the Judge Agri Muchelule-led tribunal. Now, to some extent, this maybe she has something, but you look at the tribunal that is listening to this case, then you don't think, you might actually think that she doesn't stand a chance as much as, despite what evidence is going to be presented before the tribunal. Because just like we are arguing before Simba, who is the appointing authority? Now, the appointing authority in this case is the president, and he has already pronounced himself on this particular matter. He wants them out. So the purpose of this tribunal to some extent is just to make sure that the Cherera 4 are out. 3 did already resign. Masit is the only last standing person, and I think you saw that expose that the Daily Nation ran the other day, that indeed there was a meeting between the ODM coalition. Sorry, that's the Azimio coalition. Wow, Azimio coalition, and the 4. Yep. Isn't it? And then they give details of why it happened and how it happened. What they did not divulge is the details of the meeting. So then maybe it's going to be an interesting investigation, and one that indeed we're going to watch right here on Look Up TV, so we can actually give you the details. And I know another bigger story, Amwai, there is that now is the best time to be a teacher in the country if you want to be a teacher. Then strike in the net.
It's right there on the Standard, isn't it? Because I've just seen it glance there, and this is on the back of the salary increments that they want.
Then this Be Realistic, CS tells union as teachers demand 100 billion shillings. Now, government and NAT leaders are headed for a clash after Education Cabinet Secretary said there is no money to meet their new demand. Now, they have demands, yes, but does the government have money to meet those demands?
I will tell you that. If you look at that headline again, Paul, I don't know if you can actually go back to the Standard so we can get to look at actually together with our audience this morning. If you look at exactly what the teachers are demanding, Amwai, it's good money for us to be teachers. Because if you look at that, the least earning teacher is going to earn what? 80,000. And the highest earning what? 200 and something thousand?
52.
252,000. And the least earning right there should be about what?
43. That is 43.
Isn't it?
Yeah, 252 all the way to, depending on the grade. So the B5 grade will actually be earning 43,512, up from 27,195.
That's what, 18,000 in increment, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good money. When, if you're given 18,000 increment, that's almost 25%, isn't it? It's a good jump. It will be good money. So,
but will they get it? That's the question.
That's the question, because the government has already pronounced itself. But the government is already hiring more teachers, isn't it?
Yeah.
According to Ruto's promise.
This is what we are going to say. Probably their budget, they are hiring more depending on their budget. They say this is exactly the money that we have, and we want to hire more teachers because we see that like we can afford. But when these demands come up, then the math doesn't go hand in hand with what they have. So they are like, okay, so if you are supposed to hire 30,000 by 23rd of January, how do we do this if you cannot pay them the money that they want? I will tell you that. By the way, that same story is on the back page of the Daily Nation. Is that it? Can I jump into the Daily Nation? Yeah. Okay. Because here, the interesting headline there that the Daily Nation is given center stage. They're calling it Ruto's kitchen cabinet. What is the definition of a kitchen cabinet? A kitchen cabinet is the people that sit at the center of it, where decisions are actually made. Yeah, isn't it? Where the cooking is done. It's interesting because if you look at the names here, one interesting one is Gladys Boshole, who's the National Assembly Deputy Speaker. We also have Raymond Amolo, who's the Interior Permanent Secretary. We do have Mary Wambui, who's the CAK Chairperson. You want to read into that story, then go all the way to pages 4 and 5. And by the way, that story on Mwangaza's impeachment, all right, only after 112 days. All right, read it on page 7, and actually it's the same stories that are covered here, Amwai, and how Education Cabinet Secretary, that is Machogu, has ruled out on the TSC pay demand. So now, hakuna pesa bwana. You want money, and then the president is already telling us to go through 300 billion expenditure cut. Where is that money going to come from? We don't have it. But I will tell you. This is the thing. I don't know. Will they listen to that? Because to some extent, teachers do deserve to be paid better. Yeah, and they're saying a lot of work. 2023 is going to be tough. We're going to start with strikes if you don't give it to us. Yeah, interesting. But Amwai, do you know that schools are closed up to the January of 23rd? Yeah, that's a long time. But to some extent, Simba, they do deserve that long break because this calendar has been messed up, and it's been packed. So sometimes they close for 2 weeks, a week or something like that. Then they are back in school. You hear in the same term, you're actually doing 2 terms in the same time, 2 years in the same year. So you're wondering how exactly is this going to work. But for whatever they've gone through, for whatever these students have actually gone through while being in school, and a packed up calendar, and messed up calendar due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they deserve a little bit of a good break for them to just breathe and come back fresh. I'll tell you that, man. Keep on telling you, Amwai, we're in the wrong profession. Can you imagine coming back on January 23rd? Can we float that? Can we float that proposal to the HR? If she's you can't do that. Can we come back to work on 23rd? Who is going to report the news of when people are celebrating New Year, you're supposed to be here telling the world that this is how Kenya celebrated, this is how Samburu, France and all other places actually did celebrate their New Year. So there's no break for you. You don't get a break because news happens every day, every minute. Amwai, let's go to our trends this morning like this. There's a story run on the Daily Nation on page 8 about Asad Khan, popular known as Kalulu, who was allegedly assaulted by his lover and fellow driver Maxine Wahome. That's a story that we're going to cover on our trends this morning once we come back.
All right, welcome back. And I think we can open with that particular story that is covered on page 8 of the Daily Nation about this particular one. That's Maxine Wahome, isn't it?
Yep.
Can we read that tweet together? Because I know we have it covered this morning on Avatar. We don't have it? Was that? No, but it's okay. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? So we can read it together then to see exactly what we have at this particular time. This is, can we start with this one by Governor Kawira Mwangaza, who's now getting voted out of office by all Hameru MCAs present in the county assembly, except 2. That's safe for 2 actually, who did not participate in that impeachment motion. Amwai, like we were saying, because we know the process, we know what the law states about this, but there are 2 areas here that we have to look at. There's already a court order that was stopping this particular debate.
Yep.
All right? And then now we do know that if indeed the court okays this debate again, if the court goes back and looks at it and say, okay, the MCs decided to go on with the debate, they've already impeached you, so now you have to proceed to the Senate. Does she have favor at the Senate? Because we've already seen what happens at the Senate. If you indeed belong to the party that is the popular party, you will survive that impeachment motion. But then she goes in as an independent, Amwai.
Well, she's an independent who is pro-government. So I'll say she's a little bit pro-UDA. Yeah, because the moment she was sworn in as governor of Meru County, she went to the steps of the current residents and actually did have a chat with the president, who was then president-elect, and they decided to work together. At the time when we were talking in this country and saying, why are so many people, running away from the Azibio team or going all the way to, to want to align themselves with the government, and you're looking at some of the independent candidates who have actually been elected. So some of the leaders that are actually been elected, what exactly was happening to them? They were actually going to the other side, trying to align themselves with the government. That is something that we did see, Simba. And to some extent, I'll say she has favor with the government. She is maybe in good books with the current administration that has to do with President William Ruto and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Just the other day, Rigathi Gachagua, that is the Deputy President, was about to hold a meeting with this MCS and Kawira Mwangaza herself in Meru to just look at what was happening and try to get into an agreement without having to go all the way to impeach her. So trying to, can we settle this in a different way without necessarily having an impeachment motion tabled in the House to actually have her out. So those are some of the things that I look at and study the mood and say maybe to some extent she could be having favor with the government. Just that the government did not sit down with these members of county assembly, and that's why they refused to have a sit down with the deputy president, because they knew if at all they were to sit down with the MCAs, if at all they were to sit down and accommodate the deputy president, to some extent they would have been forced to not let this go. Yes. And that's why they said, okay, we are not having this meeting, let's just wait.
Interesting, isn't it? Let me just take you through just 2 responses to what Kenyans are talking about on this particular one. This is Peter Simeu. In my view, it is the governor's husband who's bringing this dispute in her career. Had this guy chosen private, silent, live, and let the wife perform her duties, no one would have bothered to fight her. Clingy and needy men kill their spouse's careers.
We are going to play the gender card here. Listen.
Amwai,
I think this
you want to argue against that?
This is the point where I need to play the gender card. If it was the first lady of a particular county, nobody will be talking about this.
We won't be.
We will not be talking about this. We will not be accusing the wife or the first lady for leading to the impeachment of the governor. Why are we accusing the guy?
Are you saying
why would he choose a private life? This is the thing. We saw Machakos governor having his first lady there. We've seen so many governors having their first ladies with them. Even the president and the deputy president, we do see their wives on the political arena, just traversing the country, doing this and that, and showing the country that we are here, despite maybe the office of the second lady not in existence, but we also, to some extent, have the office of the first daughter, but that's a topic for another day. This is the thing, Simba. We will not play,
we will not play the gender card.
If at all we go and start blaming the husband, then I think this is where we play the gender card. If it were a woman, we'll not be talking about how he did mess this up.
Is it that? Amwai, your opinion. Last one before we move on to the next trend this morning. This is according to, hey, wow, this is a very good toxic photo love. Okay. All right, this is the saying, sijui kitu mama amekosea, lakini sasa I think it's only best that we county elective leadership be all disbanded. Wameru wamue tena, cause ni kama hata MCAs wana akili pia. So when you look at it like that, do you think that because the electorate
go back
voted,
to fresh elections.
The electorate voted, isn't it? Yeah. Do you think now it's time for them to go back? But the law doesn't say that.
Nah.
Deputy governor would essentially become the governor.
Listen, I think I'm looking for something, and this is in relation to a book that Kiage Murungi wrote.
Oh yeah, by the way.
Did you see that?
I saw that. Describing
something interesting. It was interesting. I liked it.
Quite interesting.
Describing exactly. I can't seem to find it, Simba.
Yeah.
I think we'll look for it some other time. It's not here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but describing her as a pretender. If I was, I'm trying to paraphrase. That she's a pretender who trying to play the poverty card for sympathy and stuff like that. You gotta read that book, by the way.
This is page 109 of this book. Now, I really don't know. Kawira is a member of parliament. This is before she was actually elected. Kawira is a member of parliament as the woman representative of Meru. All I know is that she has declared her interest to be governor of Meru. As Machiavelli said, human beings are not what they seem or pretend to be. Despite their public professions of Christian goodness, some politicians are just wicked. They are thugs and scoundrels who are just good talkers. Kawira is a self-proclaimed bishop, but in reality, she's a hypocrite, deeply immersed in lies and deception of the people, especially the poor and illiterate. She's a cunning businesswoman. Habaite TV is a selfie. She has monopolized its screens as the bishop, the director and producer of her own ego. It is full of her endless repeated Okolea crusades, news interviews and reports whose main theme is only one: that old man Kiage Murungi must go. Now the old crocodile is dead. Its body is merely floating on water. That's the quote. As to where Meru should go, she has no clue. Kawira has no concrete political agenda. She has no vision for Meru. Pretending to be a village woman, she sincerely whips up emotions of semi-illiterate peasants. That is a book, a conversation by Kiage Murungi. That's the title of the book.
I'll tell you that, man. Yeah,
and I did get, sometimes I do during the campaigns. I used to watch that TV because as the people that work in the media, we normally try to look at what is where, and I did watch Baite TV, and to some extent, the title and the theme of that TV is just the governor.
Interesting, really. The ice is cracking, isn't it? And quite loud. I mean, we can hear it from all the way here in Nairobi, because now she has come all the way to Nairobi again to just go back to the Senate and see whether her short career that is, after 112 days can be saved.
Though it will be, listen, are we really surprised that this is happening? Because to some extent we saw this coming, the way we are done with this election, and how she started conducting herself, and to some extent it's like we actually were looking at a possibility of this actually happening. So what I think,
so we watch,
she would have stepped down a little bit, just have a conversation, a proper conversation, without having to feel like you're the super human being in that particular county. And this because you're speaking to people who have the power to actually get you out of office. If they say no to you, they will say no to you. So how do you have a conversation with them that you don't get to this particular point? And I think that's where she missed it. Because you might have been elected, but getting you out of office does not need to, start reducing the number of people that elected for you, that put you there.
We follow this story right here on Look Up TV. For now, we take a short break. Once we come back, then Amwai brand will be taking you straight to the newsroom so we can get to tell you some of the biggest headlines then that you're moving on the day with. For me, I'll be back at 11 to 12 for Look Up Business, where I'll be telling you why the government has decided to stay the prices of fuel once we come back, guys.